Have you ever had a night when it felt as if the whole world had gone still, and all that remained was the ticking of the clock, like the slow, steady breathing of time itself? You sit there in a dimly lit room, the faint yellow light in the corner, not strong enough to drive away the darkness filling your soul. Everything around you seems to have collapsed. The things you once believed in, once held tightly, have shattered like glass falling onto the floor. You listen to your own heart and realize it feels unbearably heavy, as if carrying a great stone that no one else can see. Perhaps there was a moment when you asked yourself, how can I keep going when I no longer have the strength to stand? Tonight, I do not want to rush into talk about hope or brighter days. I want to simply be here with you, in this very moment, where your breathing slows, your eyes rest in stillness, and the world outside drifts far away. You do not need to pretend to be strong, and you do not need to act as if you are fine. Just sit down and let your truest feelings be present. Perhaps you are exhausted from wearing a smile in front of others all day. Perhaps you have been holding yourself together, while inside you feel like a door being battered again and again by a relentless storm. Outside the window, the night stretches on. The moon hangs quietly, pouring down a fragile light, like a gentle hand resting on your shoulder, saying nothing, simply being there. Can you feel it? That feeling when someone stays beside you, not leaving you alone, even without a single word spoken. In this moment, I want you to imagine an embrace waiting to hold you. It is not hurried. It does not demand that you explain everything right away. It is patient, wide enough to hold all your broken pieces, warm enough to still the trembling of loneliness. Perhaps you have never seen him. Perhaps you have never heard him call your name with your own ears. But deep within, you know, he is there, like the heartbeat of a mother near her child in the womb, even though the child has never seen her face, like a seed buried in dark soil, still sensing the warmth, waiting for the day it will reach for the light. You do not need to rush into belief. You do not have to try to feel anything right now. Just take a deep breath and allow yourself to pause so the Lord can draw nearer. The ticking continues, but somehow it feels slower, not because the clock has changed, but because your mind is beginning to slow. You start to hear the smallest of sounds you missed during the day. The whisper of wind through the window frame, the faint rustle of leaves outside, and even the steady beat of your own heart, faithfully keeping rhythm for your life. I want you to know, no matter how weak you may feel, the very breath within you is a miracle, and the Lord has never taken his eyes off you. If you can close your eyes for a moment, let the darkness of this night no longer be a threat, but a soft blanket covering you. Let the tears, if they wish to fall, flow freely, without restraint, without shame, for you do not have to be strong before the one who has already seen the weakest parts of you. In the Bible, Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." These words are not just for someone out there. They are for you, right now. I know you may have heard many pieces of advice, many words of comfort, but tonight, I am not here to tell you what to do. I am only here to remind you that when everything falls apart, you do not have to pull yourself up alone. You can let the Lord hold you and stay in his arms as long as you need. There is no plan you must make for tomorrow, no question you have to answer. Just be here, in this moment, believing that you are still loved, even when you feel you have nothing left to give. And if you can, take a deep breath in, as though you are breathing in the peace he is giving you. Then breathe out, letting go of the weariness, the worries, and the self-accusations. Tonight, you do not have to fight. Tonight, you can simply rest, letting the arms of God cover you. There are days when you wake up not knowing why you should begin a new day, not because you are lazy or weak, but But because your strength has been drained by battles no one can see, you smile when you meet others. You answer, "I am fine," when someone asks how you are. But inside, your heart feels like an empty house after a storm. Everything is still there, but the life has gone. You may be surrounded by a busy city, yet you feel as if you have been left alone on a deserted island, unseen and unknown. On those days, each hour passes like a test. You work, you complete tasks, but nothing touches your heart. Even the things that once brought you joy now feel dull, like a song played with the sound turned off. Evening comes, and you think you will finally rest. But the night becomes another kind of battle. Daylight hides the loneliness a little, but when darkness falls, it spills out, flooding your mind. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling as though time has slowed to an endless crawl. The ticking of the clock is no longer gentle, but dry and unyielding, as if reminding you that you are still stuck here. You try to pray, but your words sound hollow, and nothing answers except the silence. Maybe you start to wonder, is God really hearing me, or has he turned away? That question slips into every breath, and you feel as though you are falling into a bottomless pit. The silence of the long night can be more frightening than noise. It makes every dark thought louder, sharper. You remember your failures, the criticism, the losses, and they come one after another, like a string of unbroken images. You remember the one who left, the dream that shattered, the promises never kept. Sometimes you wonder what you did wrong to deserve all of this, and perhaps the hardest part is feeling like no one truly wants to hear your story. Or if they do, they could never fully understand. Maybe you have tried to find comfort in people, a friend, a family member, an embrace, but they get busy or they do not know what to say, and you withdraw into silence again. You learn to hold everything inside, thinking that speaking it out would only burden others. Little by little, you close the doors of your heart until even you forget how to open them. And then there are nights when you cannot sleep. You lie there, turning from side to side, while the same thoughts repeat themselves. I have lost everything. There is nothing left to hold on to. You try to distract yourself with music, movies, social media, but when the screen goes dark, the emptiness is still there, deeper than before. That is when you feel the loneliness most. Not because there is no one around, but because no one can truly reach the place where you are hurting. The feeling of being abandoned does not always come from people leaving you. Sometimes it comes from no longer sensing God's presence. Prayers that once brought comfort now feel like they vanish into the air. You begin to fear praying, afraid that the silence will confirm you are truly alone. And in that fear, you feel like a child standing before a closed door, not knowing if anyone is on the other side. But I want to tell you this: if you are in such a season, you are not strange, and you are not wrong. Even in the Bible, there were brave men and women, chosen by God, who endured long nights of silence. King David once cried out, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" Psalm 13. This shows that feeling abandoned does not mean you truly are, but I know when you are in it. Explanations feel far away. You just want someone to sit beside you, without arguing, without trying to fix things, simply. So, you know, you do not have to suffer alone. And if you are hearing these words tonight, allow yourself to admit that you are tired, that you are weak, and that this does not make you any less worthy. You do not need to get back up right away to prove your strength. You have the right to let your heart rest, even while the world outside keeps turning. Because sometimes, only when we are honest about our pain, can we open the door for God to step in and heal us. There are moments when pain does not arrive like a loud storm, but creeps in like fog. At first, you think you are fine, that you can keep going, but day by day, the fog thickens until you can no longer see the road ahead. You keep moving, but each step feels heavy, uncertain, because you are no longer sure where you are headed. And then you begin to ask yourself, is it even worth going on when I see no light at the end of the road? In the long nights, when all sounds have faded, your mind becomes an echoing room where memories and dark thoughts circle endlessly. You remember the times you trusted someone completely, only to be met with betrayal or indifference. You remember dreams that once made your heart race, now reduced to ashes. You remember promises of forever that left you sitting alone by an empty chair. During the day, you may be able to ignore these memories, but at night, they seem magnified so vivid that they sting. And so, you begin to close your heart, little by little, not because you want to be cold, but because you are afraid that if you open it again, you will lose yet another piece of yourself. You start avoiding deep conversations, avoiding sharing what is truly inside. Gradually, people begin to see you as steady and strong, but only you know that this steadiness is a thick cloak, hiding a heart exhausted to its core. Perhaps you have tried talking to God about your pain, but when prayer meets only silence, you begin to wonder, has He left me? That silence does not feel like the peaceful kind shared between friends. It feels like standing in an empty room, calling out and hearing no reply. That feeling makes you doubt not only God's love, but also your own worth. You begin to think you are not good enough, or that mistakes from your past have made Him unwilling to stay near. The pain deepens when you look around and see others who seem happy, still moving forward, still hearing God's answers. You compare yourself, and the feeling of being left behind makes the loneliness heavier. You might sit in a church filled with people, listening to songs about joy and victory, but inside you feel like an outsider, standing beyond a window, looking in at the warmth you cannot enter. There are times when you want to cry out, to slam your hands on the table and ask God, where are you when I am hurting like this? But then you fall silent, thinking the question will change nothing. And so you keep walking in the shadow of your pain, living, struggling, finding ways to hide the wounds from sight. Yet, wounds hidden away do not heal on their own. They only spread quietly, making each day heavier. If someone has ever felt this, they will understand weariness is not only of the body, but of the soul. It is waking up without the desire to do anything. It is looking at the future and seeing only a gray curtain. You are not just tired from what you do. You are tired from the invisible weight you carry. This burden has no clear shape, yet it makes your shoulders sag, your back bend, and your eyes lose the light they once held. And then, one day, you realize you have forgotten the sound of your own laughter. Laughter that once flowed easily, now feels forced, or has disappeared entirely. You have forgotten the feeling of anticipating a new day, forgotten how to dream of good things. Instead, you are simply surviving each day and night, as if walking through a barren land with no rest in sight. The hardest part is that sometimes, even in pain, you still have to appear fine to others. You still fulfill your duties, still smile at gatherings, still reply to messages with cheerful words. But when you return to your room and the door closes, you collapse because all your strength has been spent keeping up that facade. I know you may be hearing these words and seeing yourself in them, not because I know your whole story, but because pain has a language that those who have been through it can recognize. It is the downward glance when you do not want others to see you trembling. It is the long sigh in the night when everyone else is asleep. It is the silence that lingers because you fear that if you speak, everything will fall apart. And if tonight you find yourself in that very place, I want to tell you this: you are not as lost as you think. You may not see it yet, but there is one who is watching you in the dark. even when you cannot feel him. But let us set that aside for a moment. Right now, you only need to allow yourself to be honest about the pain. Do not deny it. Do not rush to push it away, because it is only when you dare to face it that you begin the journey toward the healing God has been preparing for you all along. There is something strange about darkness. It can never stop the light, even when that light is as small as a single candle. On the days when you feel completely alone, when your prayers are nothing more than whispers that seem to vanish into empty space, there is still one who is quietly there. He does not walk away. He does not turn his face. He simply stands outside the door of your heart, patiently waiting. He does not knock loudly. He does not force his way in. He simply stays there, so that when you are ready, you will realize he has never left. Perhaps in your weariness, you imagine that God will appear with a thundering voice and a miracle that changes everything in an instant. But often, he comes like a soft breeze through the window, like the gentle rustle of leaves in the night, like a peace you cannot explain. He does not rush to fix everything, because he knows your heart needs time to learn how to trust again. I want you to imagine this. You are a child sitting curled up in the corner of a room. After a day filled with tears, the door is closed, and outside, you hear familiar footsteps. You cannot see the face, but you know it is your father's steps. He does not burst in. He does not say, "You must be strong." He simply sits down, leans against the door, and says softly, "I am here." And somehow, just like that, the wall of loneliness inside you begins to crack. Even if just a little, he still hears you, even when you do not say a single word, because to him, silence is also a language. Romans 8:26 says, "The Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans." That means that even if you can only sit in the dark without finding the words, he still hears, he still understands, and he is still working on your behalf. I remember a story. A father stood outside his daughter's hospital room. She lay inside, too weak to speak. Every day, he came not needing her to answer, just needing her to know she was not alone. Sometimes, that presence alone is the strength someone needs to make it through another day. God is like that. He does not need you to be strong. He does not require you to get up immediately. He just wants you to know he is here, and he will stay. You might be wondering, if he is here, why does he not change my situation right now? The answer is not always about how quickly things change, but about how deeply you know his love, so that when the storm passes, you will understand that your strength did not come from yourself, but from the one who has always been with you. Light does not always arrive all at once. Often, it begins with the smallest flicker, just enough to tell you that the darkness is not absolute. It might be an unexpected message from a friend, a Bible verse you happen to read, or a song that plays at just the right moment. These may seem like small fragments, but together, they form a pathway out of the long night. If tonight, you can close your eyes for a moment, imagine the arms of God around you, not hurried arms, but steady, patient arms that let you know you are held and safe. He embraces every broken piece of you, leaving nothing out. He is not afraid of your weakness, not discouraged by your doubts, and he will not leave, even if you are not ready to believe just yet. I want to remind you, God's presence is not always loud. Sometimes he simply sits beside you, so you can know that no matter how many tears fall, there is still a safe place to rest. And when you are too weary to pray, remember, he does not wait for you to say the right words. He only asks that you let him stay close. Perhaps right now you feel nothing at all. That is all right. God's love is not dependent on your feelings. He loves you, even when you do not recognize it. He continues to work quietly in the dark, like a seed sprouting underground where no one can see, until one day it breaks through the surface into the light. If you are in a dark room, believe that light is making its way toward you. It is in no hurry, because when it comes, it will stay. And when you are ready, you will see that all this time, God has been at the door of your heart, simply waiting for you to open it. Maybe you are so used to picking yourself up, wiping your own tears, and forcing yourself to keep going. You think it is the only way to survive. But God never intended for you to carry the weight of the world alone. He knows that sometimes you just need a place to rest your head and cry without holding yourself together for one more minute. And He is that place. Picture this. You are walking through a dark forest, the path muddy and heavy with each step. You have been walking so long, you no longer know where you are. Then, ahead, you see a small golden light, like from a warm wooden cabin. You move closer, and the door opens. Light spills out, along with the scent of bread and the crackle of a fire. Inside, someone is waiting for you, with a gentle smile, not asking why you are late, not scolding you for losing your way, only opening His arms and saying, "Welcome home." That is how God receives you. No checklist of things you must fix first. No words of reproach. Only unconditional acceptance. In Luke 15, the story of the prodigal son tells of a father who ran to embrace his child, even though he returned in rags and dirt. That is the heart of God. He does not wait for you to be perfect before coming. He comes to hold you right in your lowest place. Maybe you are thinking, but I have doubted Him. I have blamed Him. I have been far from Him for so long. God knows, and because He knows, He all the more wants you to return. Nothing in your past surprises Him or makes Him take back His love. He loved you before you ever knew Him, and that love has not changed, no matter where you are right now. When you are in God's arms, you no longer have to hold yourself up alone. You can breathe out. You can lay down your burdens. Imagine a giant backpack on your shoulders, filled with heavy stones, each stone representing worry, fear, disappointment, sorrow. You have carried it for so long, you have forgotten what it feels like to be light. Now, God gently lifts it off. The sound it makes as it hits the ground is the sound of release. You look up and realize you can walk so much lighter. He does not just come to comfort you. He comes to remind you who you are in His eyes. You are not your failures. You are not your wounds. You are the child of the Creator, wonderfully and preciously made. In Isaiah 43:9, God says, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." These words are like a whisper deep into your soul, erasing every negative thing you have ever believed about yourself. And then He begins to light small lamps along the path ahead, not so that you can run immediately, but so you can know there is still a way forward. A surprise message from someone you thought had forgotten you. A morning where you wake and realize you slept more peacefully than the night before. A song that plays at just the right time. These small things are God's way of saying, "You are still moving forward, and I am still with you." Let your heart listen to the quiet rhythm of His presence. He does not need you to hurry. He knows healing is not a straight line. There will be days when you feel lighter, and days when the heaviness returns. But unlike before, you now know you do not have to walk through those days alone. If tonight you can do one thing, let it be this: allow yourself to rest in God's arms. For as long as you need, tell Him, even in the smallest way, "Lord, I am tired." He will understand, and He will answer, not with a long speech, but with a quiet peace that slips into your soul, like a cool stream running through dry land. When you begin to feel that warmth, you will find the strength to take one more step. You do not need to see the end of the road, just the next step. lit before you, and that light is Him. There comes a moment in the journey of healing when you realize you do not have to hold on to everything anymore. Every wound, every worry, every attempt to control, every unanswered question. You can place it in God's hands. Letting go does not mean giving up. Letting go means trusting that the one who holds the universe is loving and powerful enough to hold you. 2. I know saying let go is easy, but doing it is hard. We are used to gripping tightly, afraid that if we release, everything will shatter. But sometimes it is the holding on that hurts our hands and wears out our hearts. And God is inviting you to set that weight down so your hands will be empty, ready to receive the peace He offers. Picture yourself standing by a calm river. In your hand is a heavy stone, symbolizing the pain you have carried. God stands beside you. He does not force you, but simply says, "Give it to me." You hesitate because you are so used to carrying it. But when at last you drop it into the water, it sinks away, gone from your grasp. Your hand is lighter now, free to open toward His embrace. God does not promise that every wound will vanish instantly, but He promises He will never leave you on the road ahead. In John 16:33, Jesus says, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." These words do not erase the struggle, but they give you a firm foundation to keep walking. Even when the ground beneath you shakes, you can begin with small steps, getting out of bed in the morning and saying, "Thank you, Lord, for today," whispering a short prayer before sleep. "Lord, I give you my worries," pausing in the middle of a busy day to breathe and remind yourself that you are loved. These small steps, over time, become a path out of the valley, and then you will see something miraculous. Hope has not been stolen. It may have been hidden, but it has never disappeared. It is like a seed lying deep in the winter soil, looking dead, but quietly preparing to break through when spring comes. God placed that hope in you when He made you, and nothing and no one can take it away. You may still have heavy days, but you will begin to notice one difference. You are no longer fighting alone. Each time you are weary, you will know you can return to God's arms, rest, and then keep going. You will no longer fear the darkness because you know the light is always near. If tonight you are hearing these words, I want you to try saying to yourself, "I do not have to carry everything alone." Then say, "I can trust God." At first, these words may not change what you feel, but as you repeat them, they will become like gentle rain soaking into dry ground, nourishing the seeds of life within you. Have you ever seen the sun rise after a night of rain? The sky is still heavy with clouds, but on the horizon, a strip of golden light begins to break through, tracing the soft edges of a new day. It is not blinding light all at once. It is the kind of light that gently assures you the darkness has lost. That is the picture of hope. When you give your pain to God, He does not promise a clear sky instantly, but He promises to give you enough light for the next step, and step by step, you will draw closer to a place of peace. Maybe you are thinking, "I am not ready to run toward the light." That is fine. You do not have to run. You only need to take slow steps. As long as you are moving in that direction, God does not require you to have extraordinary strength. He only asks that you be willing to move, even a little, because He will walk with you every step of the way. I am reminded of a verse in Psalm 30. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. Every long night has its limit. Every tear will one day be wiped away. What matters most is that you do not let go of the belief that the morning will come. And when you hold on to that belief, you will begin to notice the small yet precious things a deeper breath, a more genuine smile, a day that passes with your heart feeling just a little lighter than the day before. I want you to picture that light again. It is not loud, it is not rushed, but it quietly pushes back the darkness, just as the love of God gently soothes the pain you carry. Every ray is a reminder you are still here, and so am I. You no longer face the future alone, for God is already in it, waiting for you. Let the sunrise become the symbol of your journey. No matter how long the night, it cannot stop the sun from rising. No matter how deep the pain, it cannot overcome the love and hope that God has placed within you. And when you see that light, let it guide you, not only in your steps, but in your soul. There may be days when you feel yourself slipping back into the shadows. That is not failure. It is simply part of the process. When that happens, remember that the light is still there, and you know the way back to it. You have learned how to return, and each time you do, you will be a little stronger. Tonight, if you stand at your window, try looking out and finding a point of light, whether it is a faraway street lamp or the faint glow of the moon. Let it be your reminder that God has never left you alone, and that He is still leading you to the place where darkness has no power. Your dawn is coming. Tonight, we have walked together through the deepest moments of pain. We have sat in the darkness, listened to the sighs of the heart, and then felt the warm arms of God holding us tighter, not letting us fall. Now, as this story comes to a pause, I want you to take a deep breath in and slowly exhale, as if you are releasing all your weariness into His hands. Do you notice it? The darkness of this night is not as frightening as before. It is still here, but within you, there is now a light, the light of hope and the love God has lit in your heart. That light will stay with you, not only tonight, but in every day to come. And whenever you feel weak, remember this: light never gives up to darkness. God has been and still is here not only to comfort, but to guide. He knows the road ahead of you. He knows the challenges to come. He knows every breath, every tear. He does not rush because He knows that healing takes time. But He will never leave because His love for you does not depend on anything you do or do not do. If tomorrow you wake up and the sadness is still there, do not think you have gone back to the beginning. As long as you keep giving little pieces of it to God, He will keep renewing your heart, and little by little, you will find yourself walking more steadily, more lightly, and more peacefully. Before we close, I want to share a prayer with you. You do not have to speak it aloud. Just listen and let your heart agree with each word. A prayer. Loving Lord, thank You for being with me tonight. Thank You for listening. Even when I could not put my thoughts into words, You know how tired I am. You see the tears I have kept hidden, and still, You hold me in arms that never change. Lord, I give You every burden I can no longer carry. Please exchange it for Your peace. Turn my fear into trust. Turn my despair into hope. I know this journey will not always be easy, but please help me remember that You walk with me every step, every breath. You are my light, the one who keeps me through every night. Please keep leading me toward the morning. And when I am weak, remind me that I still belong to You and that Your love will never leave me. I place it all in Your hands, and I believe You will make all things good. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Tonight, as you close your eyes, let this prayer be like a soft blanket wrapped around your soul. And when morning comes, remember, you have already taken another step forward, and God will still be there, waiting for you with a gentle smile